Hi there and welcome to Coleman Trailer Sales. Today we'll be walking you through your 2025 Coleman 26Bx. We are just going to start off at the back of the unit. If you noticed at the back, you got your spare tire. You just got to pull this cover off. There'll be a couple nuts holding that on there. Then around this side of the unit, if you go a little bit lower down, you've got your stabilizer jack. You do have one in all four corners of the unit. The way it works is you're going to take the 3/4 inch drive tool, which does come included inside the front compartment, run this foot down to the ground. And once that foot contacts the ground, just giving it another 1/8 turn to snug it up because it's going to take any bounce or sway you see we have in the unit right now away. One thing I'm going to note is that today's day and age, cordless power tools are extremely popular. You can run these down with a impact, just always being careful with how much torque you do put on them because they do bend very easily. So just keep that in mind whenever you are using an impact. Right in here, you do have a storage compartment. It does go inside the unit underneath the bunks as well. Then of course you got your sewer outlet. You're just taking that knob, taking it off. These are gonna be the same 2 ears your sewer hose has. They just line up with those notches like so and lock into place. You got your gray valve and your black valve. You're always going to want to empty your black valve first. It's going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. Then you can come behind that with your gray valve, which is typically a little cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. Just to keep that hose that little bit cleaner. Your coax inlet right here. And then right below that, your standard twist lock 30 amp connection. Twist lock connection, just take a note of that notch there. It lines up with this notch on this side. Taking that, pressing it into place, 8th turn to lock it in. Then you got that threaded collar if you really want to lock it down. Follow that cord back, you do have your standard 30 amp plug-in. Most campsites should have this and you can plug right on in, but let's say you have the unit at home or your campsite only has 15 amp service. We do include that 15 amp park adapter. Just keep in mind, if you're going down to 15 amps power, it's really just to run your fridge and your lights. Not going to run your air conditioner off that, otherwise it could trip your breaker. So just be mindful of that. We're just going to step a little further towards the front of the unit now. Got your service port for your hot water heater. Pull, twist open. That little power switch, turning that on, does supply power to the thermostat inside. So because this is an on-demand water system, it does not have a tank. It's going to be different from your traditional winterization. Typically, they always tell you that you have to turn bypass valves. For this guy, you're not turning any bypass valves. You are running antifreeze through this, of course, with it off. And then once you're done your whole winterization process completely, just come inside here, crack this pressure relief valve. That's just allowing any antifreeze to escape out through wintertime when the antifreeze gels up and needs a place to go so it doesn't burst any of your coils. Right to the left of that is your fresh water connection. Filling that up does fill up your fresh tank, and that's what your water pump draws off of. You also have your city water connection right below that, so if you're at a site with service, you thread a garden hose in there, turn it on, pressurizes all those lines without the needing to run your water pump. And then right below there is just a black tank flush. So whenever you are using this, very important, you have your sewer connected and your black tank open, as if you don't, you do run the risk of bursting your tank, so just be mindful of that. And then right down below, you're gonna notice this big valve here. This is your fresh water drain. So if you pull that guy, it's just gonna drain all the water inside your fresh tank. And then right beside it is just this little storage tube for your sewer hose. You do just have to twist the cap. It's gonna unlock itself and come out. And then you can store your sewer hose in there, just keeping as much smell out of the unit as possible. And then to get it back into place, you're just lining it up and twisting it and locking it into place. Oop. Up here. Sorry, sometimes it even takes somebody who does it every day a couple tries. There you go, and then that locks that into place, which is still not. Oh, there we go. Now it's locked. Now it's locked into place. It's not going to pop out of there. This is just going to be your storage compartment. It's your standard door key. So typically you would use your standard little key, but because this is a keyed lock, your unit's going to come with a purple key. That's what you're going to want to use on this one here. Down the front of the unit, right up front, your 27 RV battery located inside that box. And then you got two 20-pound propane tanks inside here. Most of the time you can get what you need done just by taking off any one of these four caps, front, rear, or top. but for the purpose of video, I will just remove it completely. It slides right off. That gives you access to 2 propane tanks, regulator on the front, this little green thing with the arrow pointed to this tank. You can be drawing off this one. Obviously, if this one were to go dry, just flip it over to the other side. To open up the flow counterclockwise like any standard barbecue, try and turn it slowly and opening it up all the way. Opens up the flow into the unit. Tongue jack right up front, pretty standard. Come around to this side, it'll open up this compartment, which is the other side. You got your standard starter kit. So that is where your sewer hose is going to be located, as well as a 15-foot water hose and some other miscellaneous goodies, including that 15-amp park adapter, which I've told you about. And then you have that 3/4 inch drive tool for your stabilizer jacks, which I've also told you about. So this is the main entry door right here. This is the door we're going to be going into today. We're just going to finish going through the rest of the unit. Right down below, you are pre-plumbed for a propane quick connect, so if you wanted to get the hose or anything for that, you can do so. Basically, it'll allow you to run your barbecue off this line here. You're just having to get the quick connect hose, and obviously with this valve closed like so, the flow propane's closed. It'll allow you to operate the coupler just like a standard airline. Opening up the flow propane, just as a safety feature, you can undo that coupler. Exterior shower, standard 751 key to open that up, hot and cold water. And then you got your second entrance to your bathroom. Now the best part, to get inside, take this assist handle, push it up, hold it 90 degrees, it'll lock into place. It'll allow you to open up that door. Once your door is open, pull down the stairs. You're gonna notice, I'm gonna mention it now, with the door fully open, it does come into contact with your awning arm. So if you were to operate that awning arm, you could cause some damage, scratching at minimum. So always making sure before you run your awning, you have the door closed 90 degrees. Taking a step on inside, first thing you notice off on your left is going to be that fire extinguisher that is just like home, pin and shoot. Up on the wall here, you got your monitor panel system and operating panel, I guess you could call it. That one light switch does turn on the main living space lights, and then you have an awning light that turns on outside. To get that awning to work, you're just having to push and hold that button down. The awning's going to start making its way out. Unfortunately today, we're not going to be able to get the awning all the way out, but we'll get it out just for you to get the idea. Whenever you are putting your awning out, just keeping an eye on wind speeds. And once you get to about 5 km/h winds, you're going to want to make sure you bring that awning in. That way you'll run the risk of bending anything or ripping the fabric. Now with that pulled out as far as we could go, we're going to start rating. You can take any arm, front, or rear. This is all loosened off. Pull down on the awning, which changes the pitch of the awning, then allowing water to run off. Now you can tighten that, which locks it into place. Now it does provide for more shade underneath like this, so you can do the same thing with the other arm. Just always making sure that you're holding on and you do loosen these off before you go to run your awning in. That way you don't bend anything. Loosen that off, and then just leave it loose for when you do bring it in. And then bringing it in would be just as simple as holding that button up to retract it. The awning would roll all the way in, and once the awning contacts the side of the trailer, it's just going to cut out. And then to run your slide out, you just push and hold that button. The slide out's going to start making its way out. Before you ever go to run the slide out, always making sure you know what's on either side of the slide, inside and out. That way you don't run the risk of damaging anything. The reason I say that is because in travel, things do tend to shift in these things. So stuff can get stuck behind the slide, so always just give it a quick peek. Again, unfortunately today, due to space, I can't get the slide out fully out, but once that slide out was fully out, it would just cut out the motors, and it would be at its full extension. Getting into the main living space here, you got all this nice countertop, all that space, sink, hot, cold water, storage all around. Lots of accent lighting on its own center push button. You got a backer for a TV mount here. You also do have your main coax cable as well as a couple GFI plugs. You're gonna notice this little black button with the green light. When the green light's on, it's just telling you the antennas on the roof is on. I typically leave them on because it also does improve radio frequency. Totally a personal preference though. Getting to your propane stove. The furnace is also propane, and this is propane. So because of that, we do have an LP detector. If this guy ever starts going off, you're just gonna want to turn off the main supply of propane and open up some windows and vents just to ventilate it out a little bit. Back to your stove. To get it to light, pretty simple. You just need a lighter. Turn this knob over to high, hit it with a lighter, and it fires right on up. Whenever you're running this, I do recommend opening up the window in here just to help ventilate out those propane fumes a little bit. And always making sure you allow that to cool down before you go closing it. You got a microwave right down below, pretty much just like home. Not much I'll show you there. Fridge and freezer, 12 volt. If you look down below, all your controls for that are just right here. Count clockwise all the way is this coldest setting. Anything before that's a warmer setting, and you're going to notice some off-grid writing. That's just letting you know the most energy efficient way to run the fridge on battery power. That's your charcoal filter, which does help with the fridge odors. If you'd like to get a replacement one of those, you can contact the parts department and they put together a quote for you. Then right below the fridge is just your main fuse breaker panel. Folding this down. Whenever a breaker trips, it'll sit in the middle, so you just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. And then you have all your fuses on your right, and whenever one pops, there will be a little red indicator light letting you know which one's popped. Opening up this door will allow you to get to the bathroom. Light switch is on its own center push button. Sink, hot and cold water, and then you get to your Suburban thermostat for your water heater. Pushing that power button turns it on. It's going to tell you which current output temp is. If you were to turn a tap on, there's going to be a little fan that comes on, a water tap flowing, and as well as a flame. All self-explanatory. The fan's telling you the fan on the water heater is running. The little tap's telling you that there's water running, and the fan's telling you that it's blowing it out. Up or down at any time. To change your set output temp, it is locked to 50 degrees right off the bat. That's just to help a child feature to help kids from scalding their hands. If you'd want to unlock it, you just have to push that up button for about 5 to 10 seconds. You can hear it beep and it'll allow you to go up to 55. Celsius and Fahrenheit button just at a press of a button. Power button to turn it off. That's going to be pretty much it for the bathroom. You got your 2 bunk beds in the back here. Double bunks, lights in each, as well as USB plug-ins. Little storage totes it comes with. Into the slide-out area, you do got your dinette. So this is at a table setting right now. If you want to get it to a bed setting, you're just having to take these bottom table legs out of their feet. Sit the table edge on these little black things. Set your center cushion or your back cushions in center, and you'd have yourself another bed. The couch also folds out into a bed, and that's pretty simple. You're just having to grab the foot of the bed, pull, it folds right on up, and then to get it in is just as simple, except sometimes you do just have to assist it a little bit by pulling at the top. Pops into place. All the blinds in the unit also work the same way. You just kind of sit where you leave them. On the wall, you're going to notice you got your thermostat. Pretty simple. Push and hold the button. It's going to turn it on. It's going to go to your last known setting. So in this case, it is the fan setting. Now that's the air conditioner moving air around. There's no heating or cooling involved. You got high and low. Change that with the press of a button. Now one more press will bring you into a dry. Now that's going to try and take as much. It'll try and dehumidify the room as much as possible by kicking the air conditioner in or out. Then you get into cool. So now that's your cooling setting. So now that is air conditioning applied. At any point in time, you can set your room temperature by pushing the up or down buttons. Now, whenever you're in cool, if you have a low fan, that low fan is going to run full time regardless of the room temperature. If you push the fan one more time, it's going to go into high again. That's a high fan full time. One more time, we'll put you into automatic. Now that's the mode I typically recommend leaving it on. Once it's on automatic, it'll kick the air conditioner and the fan in and out as needed to keep the room at temperature. Push the power button again, it'll bring you into heat. Now that fires up its furnace, which is its own thing, 1 fan speed. And whenever you turn the furnace off, it is going to run for an additional 3 minutes just to allow itself to cool down. And then one more press and hold that button, it'll turn it off completely. For the air conditioner, whenever you are using it, a couple different options. You can run these louvers closed, in which case all the air gets moved through the ceiling ducting throughout the unit, or you can open up this louver. It'll dump all its air into the main living space. All depends on what area you want to keep cold. And then into the bedroom, light switch again on their own center push buttons. You're gonna notice each door on either side do have travel latches. Very important you use them, because if they aren't latched during travel, they're gonna swing back and forth, causing damage, so nobody likes that. Behind the cameraman there, you're gonna notice this little step here does have a screw on either side. If you take those screws out, this whole panel pops out of place, and it will allow you access that water pump for winterization. This is gonna be your emergency exit. Pull this little red tab, the screen's gonna pop right out of place, and in that case, take this handle, pull it, push it on out, you can hop out of the unit. Other than that, that's it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.